Why hasn't everything already disappeared is a bit of a depressing question to ask, but it's also the latest album from Deerhunter, indie rock band that have been around since the 2000s. This album leaked a while ago, by the way, and I did manage to get a hold of the leak. So that is why this album is, this review, sorry, is up a little bit early. You might be wondering, oh, you've already reviewed this? It only came out like pretty much a day ago or something. Well, no, I'm just recording my review in advance because it has leaked and it's been out for quite a while. Deerhunter is a band I like. Like, I do genuinely think that Microcastle is a good album. Halcyon Digest is also a good album. I'm not really a lover of Deerhunter. I think that a lot of people out there do love them, but at the same time I don't really see them get referenced very often by music lovers, even though they appeal to that crowd quite greatly. They're one of those bands that have just like top tier songs sprinkled across their discography. Agoraphobia, Nothing Ever Happened, amazing song, Helicopter, and even the last album, I think Snakeskin, was a really underrated single and definitely one of the highlights for the year it came out for me. And this new album displays how high they can hit those highs with individual tracks, because Death in Midsummer is a great introductory song to the album. Kate LeBon is producing this album, and she also features on this track with a harpsichord, and it instantly reminds me of, like, you know, early Joanna Newsom, which is obviously a very good thing considering how much I do love her music. Obviously Deerhunter spin it in their own kind of way, and you know, it's just a lovely track. Like, they have just a good way of blending different sounds and styles to create really well written and well crafted indie rock tunes, to be honest. That's the thing about this album as well. From track to track it just flows so well. The added instrumentation is so welcomed and so warm across all of these tracks, you know, the addition of piano and lots of other things as well sprinkled throughout this album, which I'm sure Kate LeBon had quite the input with. I remember their last album had a bit of like a mixing issue, but these tracks are mixed so well. You know, the lead singer has never had the greatest voice, but I feel like his vocals are like very breathy and airy across this album and just float above the instrumentation in quite a nice way. What Happens to People is a perfect example of that. I feel like this is one of his best vocal performances in probably years, actually. Like, I do really think his vocals are really nice on this track. The track as well is one of the best tracks on the album. Again, like I said, their individual tracks really stand out at times, and this is a great one too. I will say that lyrically it kind of leads to nowhere though, unless I'm missing something here, but I feel like the whole "what happens to people," like, it just kind of is a bit of an odd question to ask, and it doesn't really, like, you know, leave you pondering anything. It's not like something that makes you go, ah. It just kind of makes you like thinking, ah. Futurism is a really jangly, catchy pop tune. I really like this one. It has such a peppy melody too, with the not really anything new for the band or even the genre as a whole, but that's one of the things about this album, that I think it's just an album that does what it's doing really well. It's not adding anything new to a style of music, but it doesn't really need to be when most of the tracks are really well made. Tarnung is a track that I would say is pretty unnecessary. I don't really know what it's going for. I don't know, you'd think like they do something interesting with it, but it just really leads to nowhere. It's nice on the ears, which isn't the worst thing you could say about a song, but I don't know, I'm just kind of expecting something to happen, and every time it comes on, I'm just waiting, and nothing really ever, you know, builds up or anything. That's the thing about this album though, I will say, like, as well made as it is, and as nice on the ears and organic as it sounds pretty much on every track, it kind of doesn't really leave any room for like a surprise or anything. There's like no element of like, I wasn't expecting that. It's just kind of like, yeah, you get what you've got here, and it kind of keeps going at it and doesn't really, like, you know, add anything exciting. For a band that's, you know, blended so many genres together in the past and gotten major critical acclaim, you would think there would be something on this album that would be like, oh, what the hell was that? Like, but there just isn't, and that's okay. Like I've said, I think it just does everything really well. But I kind of just wanted some kind of like shock element or something that made me kind of go, whoa. That's not really a negative towards the album though, it's just something I would have liked while listening to it, that's all it is really. I must say the closing track is a great way to end the album. Nocturne has these really, well produced synthesizers coming through that crash in and build up at like the midway point of the track. Sounds really good, to be honest. But yeah, this is a good album and I do highly recommend it. I guess I could see people finding it a bit boring, but honestly I don't think there's anything here to, make someone go like, oh, this is terrible, this is horrific music. You know what I mean? It's just so well produced that there's not really anything here to kind of spark that kind of response. It's good though, not something I don't think I'll be returning to much throughout the year. It's a bit too safe, but I think overall a 7 out of 10 is a very fair score for this album. Let me know your thoughts on this album. If you have already heard it, do check it out if you haven't. Let me know your favourite Deerhunter album as well in the comments. And yeah, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hope you enjoyed this video. Bye!